Hey friends, welcome back. It's pretty common in Gamedev that we want one object to turn towards another one. There are usually handy functions in game engines that do this for you and obscure the vector or trig math behind it. In Godot, that function is lookAt, and it works great in 2D, but in 3D we run into this problem. Sometimes we only want to rotate on the up axis, which is Y in Godot, so we can do better than this. What we want is this magic bit of code. Or if you want this to work in global world space, then we need to take into account the difference in position between the target and the onlooker. And we can even wrap that up in a nice little function similar to lookAt that will take in the node that you want to turn, the node to look at, and the function will do the work. But let's go through how all of this actually works. It's going to require a little bit of maths, but don't worry, if you've studied any trig, you will probably remember most of it. So let's pop the onlooker at the center of a unit circle. So hopefully this is familiar. And remember in Godot, the up axis is Y. This is the axis we're going to be rotating on. It also means that we don't really care about the target's Y position, or ours for that matter. We're still only going to turn on the spot. So we're left with just the X and Z axis. So let's put that on our unit circle. Let's put the X where we understand it to be, and then the Z in place of Y. So if our target is over here, we can draw a vector line between them and join them. And we know that the angle that we want to turn in order to face it is going to be this, so between 0 and here. To actually solve for this, we can join the line here and form a right-angled triangle, which means that we can use the trigonometric functions. So let's fill in the triangle sides. The one opposite our angle is O, opposite. The hypotenuse is the longest side, of course, so here. And A is our adjacent here. So luckily we have these two values. So we have O and A. They're our Z and X values. If we remember this classic mnemonic, then we know that we're going to want to use tan for opposite over adjacent. So now to solve for theta, our angle, we need to apply the inverse tangent, which we write like this. It's also known as the arctangent though, and written as atan. So it's the same thing, but in programming languages, atan is easier to type than using superscript, so we tend to use that. And there we go. We run this function and we get our angle. So then why is it that this video is called atan2 and not atan? Well, let's try another example. So let's move the target over here into another quadrant. And now when we draw our line, we can see that this is the angle that we want, but we can't form a right-angled triangle here, which is what we need in order to apply trigonometry. It only works for right-angled triangles. So what we have to do is flip our triangle over here. So when we fill in the rest of our sum, our X is going to be negative, and our end result ends up being 180 degrees off. We end up facing the wrong way. And the same thing happens in the next quadrant here, with both of our negatives cancelling. In the fourth quadrant, where Z is negative, we do get the correct angle. We are actually facing the right way. So we get the correct answer with atan between an angle of minus 90 to 90, but not the rest. And this is where atan2 comes in. So it takes into account the sign of each argument, which is why this one takes in 2 arguments instead of atan's 1 argument. So great, now we have our object turning properly using atan2. So the last step I mentioned earlier is taking into account an object's global position. So far the math for this has worked really nicely because our object is at the origin. But if the objects are both somewhere else in the world, we need to be using the difference between their positions to make this work. So we need to subtract our position from the targets like this. So if we want to transfer this to code, then we will be applying this to our Y rotation. Remember, Y is up in Godot, that's the axis that we want to rotate around. And if we're writing this in a little function, we want to make this work for any looker and target. So that's what we're going to be setting here. And we're going to set that to atan2. And then remember, opposite over adjacent, which kind of confusingly is going to be our X and then our Z value. And then finally, if we want to do our tweaks for factoring in the global position, then we have to assume that our looker is not at the center of the universe, or rather the center of the unit circle. So we need to get the difference between the looker and the target. So we just subtract the looker's X and Z from the target X and Z, and we pop those in to our atan2. And there we have it. So we can use this function wherever we want, assuming this is in a little class, something like maths. Math is already taken, so we can't use that name. And yeah, we can just go maths.turnNode. and put in our looker and target, and that's going to adjust our looker to rotate towards the target. So thanks for bearing with me on this one. I hope that was a fun dive back into trigonometry. I think it's always exciting to discover and apply real-world applications of maths, and we can appreciate just how cool and useful these functions are. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.